Hello and welcome to what promises to be yet another amazing recap episode of REL Division 6. I am your host, Callisti Mayer, the Golden Apple of Discord. So week 4 was a pretty cool week for Division 6. There were some good games to be had. They weren't the highest scoring games. There were a lot of draws and 1-0 wins. But there were some pretty solid games being played, and I'm going to cover some of those in just a little bit. For myself, to deviate away from Division 6 for a second, my week 4, I played Human Team, coached by Nocturnal. This is in REL Division 2, and the team's called the Communist Frat Party. We're playing my Skaven team, the Lords of Decay. It was a bit of a mismatch in TV. I had a pretty high TV. I think it was like sort of 1900. And he had somewhere close to 1600, 1700. So he got a fair few inducements. And it was an interesting match, to be sure. So the Human Team, the Communist Frat Party, they have a lot of pretty good players. They're not jammed up with stat increases, but they do have a lot of really good skills, and Nocturnal is a great coach and he uses them really well. So we have like a strip ball catcher who, even though he's in agility 3, seems to manage to always just dodge through tackle zones like they're not even there. He has a pom piece, which is his main sort of enforcer on the team, and then he has probably one of the best human throwers I've seen in a long time. The guy he's throwing with agility 5 for an agility 3 base piece. He has a reroll. He has sure hands. Really good thrower, and it was actually one of my top targets for that match. I didn't manage to nab him, but anyway, the game was pretty good. I managed to sort of turn over his drive initially, and but I couldn't manage to throw the ball and catch it. Dodges were kind of hit and miss. A lot of the plays that both sides were trying to do just ended up in failure. So it was a lot of sort of getting the ball, losing it, trying to set up a really impressive play, and it sort of failing at the last moment. So, and also I managed to outbash him, which if anyone's ever seen my Skaven team, is pretty impressive. I managed to do a few injuries, whereas his team they didn't manage to make anything stick. I think I had a few knockouts, maybe a badly hurt, but nothing of any consequence. It ended in a 1-1 draw, and to be honest with you, there were quite a few points in that game where I just made stupid errors, and it's one of those moments where you sort of make the error, you do the dumb thing, and then you're like, oh, that was dumb, why did I do that? It's too late then. So I managed to get a reprieve. I had a few moments where the dice just weren't on my side, and then I had a lot of moments where I just did dumb things, but managed with my team skills, managed to sort of dig myself out of the holes I'd created for myself. So I think a 1-1 draw is justified. If anything, I would probably have given him the win because I was just playing pretty poorly. And then, I've had my week 5 match this week, but we'll cover that next week. So, moving on to you guys, which is the purpose of this video. So we had some really cool games in week 4. So let's take a quick look. So we had the usual assortment of bye weeks. So we had Mutants in Human Clothing picking up a free win. We had the Lizard Beasts again picking up a free win, and Gambler's Gals. So those were all our bye weeks. For the actual games that were played with real human coaches, we had the Rottingham Rockers taking on Maximum Overkill, and the Rottingham Rockers managed to walk away with a 1-0 win on that front. So let's take a quick look at the game. So we had the Rottingham Rockers basically owning the game. They had more of the ball possession. They won the blocking war. They managed to inflict more KOs, more injuries, and they even inflicted a kill. So, definitely this was a good game for the Rottingham Rockers. Maximum Overkill, as I say every week, the Ogre team is one of those teams that can do poorly most of the time, and it's not down to the coach's skill, and then they have the occasional game where it's just everything clicks for them, and they're brutal and savage, and they do the very impressive things for an ogre team. Let's have a look at the dice logs. Yeah, for the Rottingham Rockers, it was a bit of a mixed bag. I mean, they were definitely in possession of the game, but they didn't have everything go their way. And it looks like the Ogre team managed to sort of try and pull as many tricks out of their bag of tactics as they could. So we got throw teammate. We've got a high number of bonehead passes, which is great. They didn't get hit by foul appearance. The throwing of the teammates and the landings were all pretty spot on. We did have one failed catch, and we did have one inaccurate pass. So that must have been so we had one throw teammate, and we had an inaccurate pass. So that was the catch. Kind of run of the mill for both teams. And good result for the Rottingham Rockers. Then we had the Fogmire Fen Beasts versus the Farm Animals. And the Farm Animals, again, had put on another solid performance. Got 1 touchdown, 12 armor breaks. They seemed to outbash the Fogmire Fen Beasts. We did have one more injury though, even though and the successful block. So it looks like this is an interesting stat. So the Fogmire Fen Beasts didn't have any ball possession. I mean, it looks like they had the ball for a turn or two and then lost it. But block succeeded. They actually were more successful blocking. They actually inflicted just as many KOs, but they inflicted more injuries. However, the Farm Animals got the win. They inflicted the injuries, but they also had more armor breaks. So a bit of a mixed bag for these teams. Look at the SPP earned. And it's all pretty standard. I mean, we got the 3 injuries, we've got the 1 MVP. So this looks like the Fogmire Fen Beasts, they were probably hit by the skink curse of not being able to pick up the ball or just being shut down by the Farm Animals. The Farm Animals are on a bit of a tear. There's another solid performance from them. You could possibly have seen this game go to a slightly higher scoreline. I'm a bit surprised that the Fogmire Fen Beasts weren't able to put numbers on the board in terms of touchdowns. But again, another solid game. Then we had Ars Goatia versus Raskin Bobbins. Now I watched this game and it was a good one. It wasn't. I mean, it was a draw, so it wasn't. It wasn't the highest scoring game, but then what do you expect? It's Chaos versus Nurgle. But it was an interesting game because both teams sort of trotted onto the pitch. It was a nice sunny day, and that just wasn't going to cut it for a Nurgle versus Chaos game. So immediately at the kickoff, it started pouring rain, and that lasted the entire game. Now, Ars Goatia had possession of the first drive. It was their drive, offensive drive, and I'm not quite sure whether they chose that or not. I didn't see that, but so the team's set up, and Ars Goatia has, I think it was four on the line of scrimmage, so they can get some nice line of scrimmage blocks in, maybe start doing some early damage. They had two beastmen side by side on either side of the wings, on each wing, and then they had another 2 or 3 pieces back. What are we talking? Yeah, another 3 pieces that were in the backfield. Nurgle were in a sort of standard sort of protecting the 5 most important pieces setup. And then we had the kickoff, and so it's pouring rain, so you're expecting it to be a little bit of a tough drive for the Chaos team. They kicked the ball, the pouring rain came on, and then it went to one of the wings, and it was caught by the kickoff was caught by one of the beastmen on the wing. So they're literally at the line of scrimmage. They caught the ball. It's their drive. They trot. The ball carrier trots forward like a space or two. Cages up. The line of scrimmage blocks happen. I think some of the Nurgle players were knocked down, but nothing much happened. And then there was a blitz, and that resulted in for Ars Goatia, and that resulted in a KO. And then that was their turn. And then the Raskin Bobbins came in. They blitzed one of the cage corners, a Chaos Warrior, with a very nice sort of high strength up beastman. So he came screaming in, blitzed one of the corners, knocked him down, didn't do any damage. But then they just Raskin Bobbins screened up on that wing of the pitch, making it very hard for Ars Goatia to make any progress up the pitch. So that was pretty much their turn, and then what happened is Zizeta actually just flung everything around to the right side of the pitch. So they were on the left wing, flung everything around to the right side of the pitch from their point of view, and then just drove up that right side of the field. Okay, that lasted a couple of turns, and you just got this. I just got this pervading sense of everything Raskin Bobbins was trying early on in that match was just failing. There were like lots of dub skulls, and they had to re-roll. So they were out of re-rolls early. When they were making blocks, they were pushes, and then we had Ars Goatia sort of screaming in, and every block was a knockdown, a pow. So they very quickly got sort of control of the game, control of the flow of the game. They were in a strong position on the right side. They were able to sort of sweep up and above the Nurgle team. This is when She-Ra and Raskin Bobbins started trying some sort of very dubious blitzes. If they came off, it was great. They didn't though, because dice weren't on She-Ra's side. So then you just sort of got this. I just got the sense that She-Ra was starting to panic a little bit, and trying to sort of blitz the ball. Once Raskin Bobbins realised that there was just no way that they were going to sort of penetrate the defence, Zizeta had control of that drive and control of the pitch. They were screened off and just in a very commanding position. Raskin Bobbins settled into sort of trying to do a bit of damage before the score, maybe threatening the team so to force the score, which happened on turn 6, which in my opinion might have been a little bit early. I'm not sure. I know that Nurgle is slow, but that might have been a little bit early. But anyway, so then it's sort of the Nurgle's drive to the end of the first half, and I can just sort of see the mindset of She-Ra. I've only got like 4 turns to score this, so the setup and everything was sort of just totally sort of pitched into like this drive down their right hand side, the Nurgle team's right hand side. So they got the ball, they got it to the line of scrimmage on their first drive. They got a few knockdowns. They pushed down and through. They punched a hole in Zizeta's line and went down the wing, shooting the gap. And they ended up sort of having like a Nurgle warrior and a beastman and a rotter. Sort of screening off, kind of, but then they took She-Ra took the ball carrier down that right flank, which I think might have been a bit of a mistake, because Zizeta had just shored up his defense, but it was also just pulled down like a safety and a few other pieces, and he had the numbers advantage as well, I think. And there was just like the sense of panic on the Nurgle team's side, and then Zizeta just managed to, over the next two or three turns, just managed to slowly push the Nurgle team to the sidelines and just make it so that they couldn't score, they couldn't do anything. He'd just basically been suffocated out of the pitch. Very, very impressive. By Zizeta, and I could see the sort of the urgency and the panic in She-Ra, and I just thought, well, that's probably why these choices are being made. So that was the first half, and at that point I was thinking to myself, well, you know what, I think Zizeta has a very firm control of this game. I think he's playing the better game, and yeah, I mean, it was basically he was owning the match. Second half sets up. It's Raskin Bobbins' drive, and there's still this sort of, I get this sense of this very sort of, it's very disorganized, it's very panicked. Whereas Zizeta is just very calm, very sort of coordinated, and really sort of pushing the Nurgle team around the pitch. And I was feeling that way till about turn 13, turn 14. And then I spotted something. I spotted that Zizeta was... So She-Ra had and the Raskin Bobbins, they had got the ball in their Beastman's hand, or Pestigor's hands, and they'd had a nice sort of screen in front of the ball carrier, sort of just shielding it, but also just this wall of players. He slightly moved to his right hand side, not totally switching to the wing, but just slowly moving to the right hand side, and he was sort of looked very sort of disorganized, but also he was coaxing Zizeta to the right hand side, and I could just see that he had, like, on the left hand side, he had like a Beast of Nurgle, 2 warriors, a Pestigor and a Rotter, that he was just holding Zizeta back, but he was also pushing the action, almost baiting him onto that right hand side. And I spotted it, and I was like, maybe he's doing that intentionally, maybe he's not, and it's just that's the way the game's going. But he kept on doing it. He kept on sort of just moving a square over to the right hand side, moving just one square over, but then also centralizing the action. So Zeta just naturally just pulled everything off of the left-hand side and moved everything round to the right-hand side. And that's when She-Ra just snapped the trap, and then like moved the Beast of Nurgle, moved the Nurgle warriors, and just almost screened, but also sort of smashed into what is the depleted left flank of Zeta, and then pulled his Pestigore around. And I was like, wow, that's really impressive. It looked disorganized. And if I hadn't been just watching the game as a spectator, because I have a perspective that's away from the match, I probably wouldn't have seen that. If I was playing the match and I was a Zeta, I would have been like, okay, so I'm going to just carry on trying to, because he's kind of trying to go down my right side. So let me try and reinforce that, make sure you can't get through. I would have done the same thing, pulled everything over, and then that's when he came round. She-Ra came round. Very, very impressive. I was really impressed with that. I hopefully it was totally intentional. But yeah, that was great. And then so he has pretty much pitched everything else around to the other side, where the Chaos team isn't. And then Zeta actually did a really good play. He managed to sort of free up his killer piece and blitz the ball carrier, and get a knockdown. But by that point, too much of his team was committed to the other side, so it was very easy for She-Ra to just next turn knock down that ball carrier, pick up the ball and score. It was very impressive. I was thinking that Raskin Bobbins didn't have control of the game, and to be fair, they didn't. Apart from that one move, and I was just like, wow, that's surprised me, shocked me, and impressed me. So overall, I would say that Ars Goatia had the much better game. I think that it was a very good showing by Ars Goatia. I think Raskin Bobbins gave in to sort of panic and a sense of urgency, but the team redeemed itself by that one play, that one strategy that really paid off and was pretty impressive. Anyway, so that was a 1-1 draw. I'm not going to bother going into the stats. It was a 1-1 draw. I've just explained the entire game, so I don't think you really need to look at the stats. So then we had the You Worship Chaos versus the Elfin Sea Serpents. And this looks like it was not played. We've got no action here, no stats. Let's take a quick look here. Yep, 50-50. So this one looks like it wasn't played and it was just ruled as a draw. Okay, so that confirms the action for week... Oh, yeah. Yeah, that confirms the action for week 4. Let's take a quick look at what's ahead for week 5. Some games have already been played. In fact, I think most of the games have already been played. We've got Ars Goatia versus the Ulthran Sea Serpents still to play. We've got You Worship Chaos versus the Lizard Beasts, and we've got Gambler's Gals with a bye week win. And the other bye week is 2 bye weeks playing each other. So that's great. So more of you are getting action this week, which is good. Let's take a quick look at the leaderboard. So we have at the top of the tables, we have the Mutants in Human Clothing with an impressive 5 wins, no losses, no draws. A few of those were admin wins, so taking nothing away from Sweeney Bard, but yeah, a few of those were admin wins. We've got She-Ra and the Farm Animals in 4 wins, 1 draw. Ars Goatia sort of following up close behind them with 3 and 1. Ars Goatia still has a game to play, so they could be on 4-1. So it could be a 3-way tie for second. Then we have the Lizard Beasts, who are firmly in 5th place, and unless they lose this game coming up, they probably going to stay in 5th place. Then we have the Ulthuan Sea Serpents, You Worship Chaos, who have the potential to move up a little bit. Their record is 2-1-1, and then we have the Rottingham Rockers, who have played their 5th game, and they're on 2-1-2. And then we have towards the bottom of the pack here, we have Gamblers Gals, the Fogmire Fen Beasts, and Maximum Ogre Kill, sort of there at the bottom of the table. And then we have a bunch of bye weeks, but nobody cares about them. And so let's take a quick look at the teams. So last week we did Mutants in Humans Clothing. We do Maximum Ogre Kill? I don't think we did. Maybe we did. Oh, I don't know where we got to. Let's take a quick look. I'll probably be able to tell if I did them or not. Yeah, I got a feeling we already did Maximum Kill. So let's do the farm animals. Maximum Overkill, Random Maximus. If we didn't cover you last week, just let me know and I'll make sure I cover you next week. Alright, the farm animals. So Japsu, we have the horse, who is out right now. We have the bull, who just leveled and took stand firm. We have the cow with block. We have the beef with block and guards. We have a really nice killer piece, the rabbit 2. And then we have... Actually, I think we did this one last week as well. I'm really not doing well with this. Okay, Raskin Bobbins. Pretty sure we didn't do them. Alright, so here we go. Rocky Road has block and guard. We have Peanut Butter Cup. Nice level up there. So we got block on Peanut Butter Cup. We have Banana, Fresh Noga Warrior. We have Fudge Brownie, another block, an Ogre Warrior. We have French Vanilla. This is the team's power piece. French Vanilla, I've been following the development of French Vanilla now for, a season and a half. Developing into a very nice piece. Strength 4, Beastman with horns, block and tackle. So just need to... What level are we now? 2, 3, 4... So 5, 6 is reachable, and then you've got this long slog to legend and level 7. So you've got another 2 skills to get. I would suggest getting Claw and Mighty Blow, unsurprisingly. Definitely get Mighty Blow next, and then get Claw after that. And that's a very nice killer piece. It may not have piling on, but maybe you don't want that. You went for a nice strength up, which is probably better in my opinion. It is nice to have a piling on piece, but that's what you can do with Black Cherry. Make it a claw palm. But I think having Mighty Blow and Claw would make this a very, very nice piece indeed. We have Butter Pecan and Mint Chocolate, who both have block. We have Black Cherry, which I just talked about, who's going to probably be developing into the atypical or archetypal killer piece. And then we have Peppermint, who is interesting. Got Russell. Might be nice to see Strip Ball on that, just as a nice piece, or maybe go Tackle. Tackles are more generally useful than Strip Ball, especially when you get into later seasons. you'll find most teams have a sure hands piece. I'm finding that. I was finding that my second season, which was last season, in Division 3. Pretty much every team apart from one or two had sure hands. So the need for strip ball is really great early on, when a lot of teams don't have sure hands. You can just nip in there with your strip ball piece and Bob's your uncle. Bit later on in development, I think tackle is more useful long run. So maybe go and develop that one as a wrestle tackle piece. And then for your rotters, your other rotters, I would think about getting some dirty players there. That'd be nice. Yep. On the whole, good team. It is Nurgle, so it's probably a little bit slower to develop than other teams, but proving you know what to do with them, and what you've taken so far is solid. So good. Let's see how you've been doing generally. So we got 11 wins, 5 draws, 3 losses. So that's a very positive record. I probably expect you to come in the top 4 this season, and then next season just explode and be the team that everyone hates to face. Hopefully by the end of this season you'll have all of your Nurgle warriors leveled up at least once, some twice, and you'll have some really sort of powerful Pestigors and some good utility rotters as well. Then there's going to be no stopping you. Yep. Probably still this is a bit more of a season of building for you. And then we have the Ulthuan Sea Serpents, Rylon, High Elf team. So we have this is interesting. You've done it in an interesting order. So you've gone for the lineman first and then your positionals. Normally you see positionals first and then lineman next. So okay, we'll go through the lineman first. So you've got a kick lineman, very useful, especially on your higher agility, higher mobility teams. We've got lineman with dodge. You really lucked out with your doubles here on these linemen. You've got 3 linemen with guard. That's insane. Also 2 of them are agility busted. Not as insane, or insane in the opposite way. But you must have like a little guard agility bust factory going on in your bedroom or in your garage or something, because 3 doubles and 3 guard pieces, and then 2 of them get agility busts. Suspicious. Only joking. And then we have a wrestle piece, and then we have a blodge blitzer. We have a blitzer that hasn't leveled yet. So you need to see a little bit more development on these blitzers. They're a little bit underdeveloped. Like to see some tackle there. That'd be nice. Maybe some sidestep. That'd be good too. If you start getting like stat increases, get an agility up, then leap and tackle and or strip ball is a good way to go with these guys. Strength pieces and doubles, you're going into mighty blow territory. For your catchers, we've got one that's not leveled, pretty fresh. We have another one with Nerves of Steel. Interesting choice. Basically, you have this is basically a pro elf catcher. Yeah, it is. It's a pro elf catcher. You've taken your level up and you've made him a pro elf catcher. If you wanted to do that, I love pro elves, by the way, so this isn't a bad thing at all. But if you like pro elf catchers, then you should probably play pro elves, or Elven Union as they're now called. And then we have a blodge catcher who also just got a level up, so that's going to be exciting. And then we have a thrower with sure hands and accurate. This is going to develop into a nice piece. Maybe start thinking about getting him some protection. Because if he starts building up too much, and I'm playing you, and I see that you've got a really nice catcher with no dodge, no blodge, no wrestle, no sidestep, no fend, then I'm going to be like, ooh, yeah, I'm taking him out. And I'm going to make a beeline to get that guy off the pitch. Anyway, good team. High Elves are one of those teams that they start getting good at the sort of 1600 TV range. With those 3 guard pieces, those are definitely a bonus. But you're not. I'm not blown away by the development on your positionals. The really impressive stuff is all happening on your lineman. All the really good things are happening on your lineman and your thrower. But you've got a kick piece, which is really good. You've got the 3 guard pieces, which is really good. You've got the lineman that can, with wrestle, that can develop into a nice sort of safety, ball hawk, harasser type. Your blitzers just I'm not seeing any much development. There's not much to comment on, and your catchers are they're not blowing me away either. But your linemen are very impressive. Okay, and maybe time for just one more team. Let's do Gambas Gals. In fact, that's it. That's all of the teams. Okay, so maybe I did miss some in my coverage. Okay, so let's take a quick look. We have Gambas Gals. We have Killer K, who's just leveled up. Nice blitzer with Mighty Blow and Jump Up. So this is going. Oh wow, Gamba just likes his Mighty Blow and his skill ups. Stat ups. Anyway, we'll get into that in a second. So we have Rexa, another blitzer with guards, Mighty Blow, and a movement up. So this is a nice piece. Another one with guard, Mighty Blow, no movement up. Another blitzer with who's blodge and level agility 5. That's insane. I have agility 5, blodge, tackle, Mighty Blow, Storm Vermin, and people hate him. I was playing a game the other day, and I know, like, everyone in my division watching the game was like, I hate that piece so much, and not in a good way, like, not I hate that piece, I'm envious. I just like I hate it. I'm sure it's going to be the same with this Turd Fergie or Turd Fergal, who is an agility 5 blitzer. I'm sure there's going to be lots of people that want to kill that piece. Then we have a catcher who has taken block, so now this catcher is blodge. We have a thrower who is strength up. We have a line woman, Blackburn Sensei. So this is another piece that I've seen for 2 seasons now, or season and a half. So Blackburn Sensei got the strength up quite a while ago. Has now finally got a block, so we've now got a strength 4 blodge piece, strength 4 thrower, line woman who has leveled up but hasn't taken that level yet, and then we got Wolf, a blodge line woman. There's also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's two pieces missing, and so that's there's 2 pieces missing. So you need to probably spend some money on getting some new pieces. Otherwise, you're just going to end up with loners who are going to suck up your SPP. But overall, this team is disgusting. Yep, they are disgusting. You've got 3 very potent Mighty Blow pieces, a disgusting Agility 5 blitzer, a catcher who is perfectly fine to be out there on her own doing a thing, catching things and people trying to hit her and her just running away. And then you have thrower and lineman who are looks like they're going to be the sort of heavies on the team. So all in all, this is a very impressive team, and I wouldn't like to face this team, and I'm a bit surprised that they're not doing better than they are. I think they were very much towards the bottom of the leaderboard. Yeah, they've won one game and lost 3. So how, I don't know why this team isn't right up there, because it has all of the skills and pieces that it needs to do amazing things. It just seems to be not quite reaching its goals, reaching its expectations it must have of itself. Gamba must have of this team, because it should be doing a lot better than it is. It's going to be getting inducements every game. All of the pieces on this team are really impressive. Amazons are just a really shitty team to face in general, if you don't have lots and lots of tackle, which not many of these teams on this in this division do. So I would expect to see Gamba starting winning some more games, and I'll be surprised if he doesn't, because that's a really impressive team. Okie dokie, so I think that pretty much covers it. Yep. So yeah, next week we'll be covering week 5, and should have a bit more news for you from around REL, from around Blood Bowl. Give you update on how my week 5 match went, which was pretty interesting. It's a old grudge match, so I'm going to be happy to talk about that one. And then we're going to have lots and lots of action, because more of you are playing games this week, so that's going to be great. I'll be watching some games and giving you sort of an in-depth blow-by-blow account of the games. If you like it. If you don't like it, if you think I was just waffling on too much, then let me know and I'll drop it. But I just thought I'd give you some new and different content to digest this week. And yeah, that about does it. Have a great week, guys, and I'll see you next week.